February 20th-ish, 2014, Edible Acres. It's a discussion about a couple things, but with the real focus on my attempts at propagating Stropharia rugosa annulata mushrooms, aka wine cap mushrooms. I want to talk about a few things here. I did a previous video, I'll link to the idea of propagation on a compost pile, and I'm going to do a much more thorough follow-through of that this spring. But just as a reminder, they were thermophilic compost piles earlier in the winter, meaning very hot, 130 plus Fahrenheit. When they cool down to around 80-90 degrees Fahrenheit, I stuck all these hardwood cuttings. The first thing I showed, they're under snow right now, but these were Crusader black currants. Within 3 weeks in the dead of winter, I had about 2 to 3 inch long roots. Crazy reassuring that this is a good system. We'll see how it all works out. It could be some catastrophic failure I don't know about, but kind of riding on that success, I thought I would take, so you can see these are the first piles I did in the winter, my truck backing up into there. This is November, December. Went through thermophilic, mesophilic, they're cooling. You can see a snow load's capped on them. They're probably about 50, 60 degrees. They're thawed in the middle. Super rich earthworm activity in there. Mycelial networks are starting to form. And so now I've got this pile. This is my thermophilic pile, the one I keep adding to until the ground thaws. We're finally above freezing now, and the thaw state's gonna happen soon. And so I'm packing in as much compost as I can, truckload after truckload after truckload. You can kind of see the ramp. I back up, unfurl it with the thing called the load handler, which is an amazing, I'll definitely give them a big ups. If you can search for load handler online and afford the 90 bucks, man, does it make your life easier unloading manure, wood chips, whatever. My piles here are, I would say, roughly 60% horse manure / bedding. That's with hay, with sawdust, whatever. 20 to 30% wood chips, and then there's alpaca bedding. I just got that recently across the street from a neighbor's house. But enough about that. Basically what we have is a thermophilic pile, and I can show you. I'm going to start, I'll pop a probe in here and then take a step back. This is about the core of the pile. You can see it hits 100, it's screaming past 100, ripping past 120. We'll come back to that and see where it tops off. I'm going to guess 130, 140, maybe even 150 in that core. Hot enough that I'm a fool for not running a copper circuit or just some sort of PEX tubing through here and pulling some of this heat off. I just read recently a pile this size or slightly larger has the equivalent heat value of about 5 to 7 cord of firewood. I can't even get that through my head. It's just such an effective heat source that it's foolish for me to have not pulled this off. But anyway, what you see here is my Stropharia rugosa annulata propagation zone. This was just set up yesterday. For those of you not familiar with wine cap mushrooms, do a Google search for them. Find them on YouTube. They're an amazing edible mushroom. They're mycorrhizal, meaning that they support the plants that they associate with. They're incredibly aggressive at being able to beat out bacterial loads and other fungal loads. They're just a great mushroom. And they naturalize in your soil, so you just get pounds and pounds of these beautiful portobello-sized mushrooms that taste great. It's a win-win. My plan is this spring, I'm going to plant about 1,000 trees. Each tree is going to get a burlap sack over, with an X through it, over the tree to be my mulch. I'm going to slip in wine cap inoculated cardboard in that burlap sack and let it inoculate the burlap sack. So every tree will have a wine cap inoculation point. And what you're seeing here is a plastic sled. I used this yesterday to go to a garden spot way over there where there's a real thick layer of wood chips, ripping just crazy with wine caps last fall. Hacked through the ice and the snow, took a bunch of those wood chips and dragged them over on the sled, mixed in a bunch of biochar from my wood stove experiments, and took cardboard that a week ago, I just see a piece of Stropharia that rolled down here. Took cardboard that a week ago I put under plastic underneath this really hot part of the pile. So basically the cardboard steams. These I just put under yesterday, but with the heat of the pile, you can see it dripping on there. It's probably about 80-90 degrees, really warm. It's going to steam, kind of pasteurize that cardboard. Although you really don't need to do any sort of like sterilization or anything like that. Basically it's just to get it wet. And some of this stuff, this is a little dry, but it was just layer after layer of ripped cardboard, and then Stropharia, biochar, etc. You can see what's going on in there probably. I don't expect to see any myceliation. You know, it's 24 hours later, what do I expect? But I just wanted to show you the layout. I expect though that by late March, you know, we're late February now, within a month with this radiant, moist bottom heat pushing up through here, all those ammonias, all those nutrients in the steam coming up, it should fuel this ridiculously and get all of this cardboard myceliated. The stuff that's underneath the plastic now, later today, I'll take and mimic the same pattern. Basically took my hay fork and shaved a trough in between my older compost and my hot compost. I can feel heat radiating off this with my bare hand about 4 feet away. Let me just actually show you what the temperatures are. I don't know if you can see that. You can either believe me or not, but it reads 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Right, that's insane. All that radiant heat. If I'm not capitalizing on that somehow, I'm being foolish. I really should be heating my home while I'm doing this, or at least heating a big greenhouse. But I'm doing what I can. Next year I'll get it better. So 160 degree radiant, moist pulse of this thing. Cardboard in the trough, Stropharia, biochar, cardboard, Stropharia, biochar, cardboard. Fill this entire trough. And then all the rest of the winter, this heat is going to bleed into there. Worms are going to be able to come through, etc. And in the spring, when I need this material, this is my potting mix. As Edible Acres, as a nursery, this is what my plants live in that I sell. And so when I need that to start potting stuff up, there's some pots, there's some perlite, there's my Stropharia inoculated wood chips, here's my potting medium. By the time I'm ready to do all that, I can then take that cardboard out and use it to spike every single tree I plant out along this property. Thousands of pounds of Stropharia mushrooms are going to come out of this experiment. It cost me nothing. I already inoculated the beds. Cardboard is free. I just have to move this stuff around in the lean time of the year. So again, this was just like a micro humidity tent to steam and moisturize my cardboard. And I'm utilizing the bottom heat of all this to keep the mushroom mycelial networks awake and active and let them just run amok through this cardboard just in time to need access to this pile to start potting stuff up, and at the same time having cardboard that's ready to go to inoculate. So I'm trying to stack some function here, trying to utilize as much as I can out of this. I feel like I'm just starting to scratch the surface. This pile should be heating my home, heating a greenhouse, giving me a sauna, giving me hot tubs, propagating rootstock, generating mushroom production, using for seed flat beginnings. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. So I'm just beginning to learn how insanely valuable this is on so many levels. And so that is what I'm doing with Wine Cap. We'll give an update when we see how those do. Thanks for watching. I hope you're getting out there and trying some fun stuff this late winter.